Hey guys, Captain here. Today I'm bringing you some more of my LEGO Pokemon. This is one that's been requested a couple of times. We've got the Sinnoh starters, Torterra, Infernape, and Empoleon. I think they turned out pretty nicely overall. And so with that, let's get started on the instructions. Torterra is by far the most complex of the three, but let's get started. Now you could build the body a little bit differently. I kind of threw parts together to to make it work, but there are different variations of which plates you can use to achieve the same effect. So anyway, first thing we want to do, I kind of kept them here in the vague shape we want. Take two 1x4 plates in reddish brown and stick, kind of just lay two 1x1 plates in brown next to them. And then set those kind of three studs apart. And in between, in this bottom part, put a corner plate in reddish brown. And then on top of that, I guess really laid next to that, put a 1x2 plate and a 1x1 plate, or just another corner plate. And then on the side, one more 1x2 plate in reddish brown. And this is going to constitute a lot of Torterra's body. And so now to hold this all together, as you can see, other ways you could do this would probably be a 2x3 plate and two 1x1s. Anyway, to hold this all together, we're going to place a 3x2 or a 2x3 plate in green on top here, and then next to it here. As you can see, we're going to use this to fill in 5 worth of area. So we've just got a hole in the center, but we've got a 5x5 square other than that. And, if that was complicated to follow, really just recreate this shape. This is what you want to do. I'll leave it on screen for a moment. And then in the center here, I just put like a filler stud. If you've got a green plate, then that's awesome, but it doesn't matter. It can be any color because you won't see it. And then underneath here, we're going to eventually want a 1x4 plate holding this all together, but first we need to place the tail. So to build the tail, you can make this oriented either way, but I'm using this orientation. So I've got this kind of wedge plate, a 2x3 wedge, and then on the underside, at the tip, place a 1x2 reddish brown plate, and then one of these hinge plates in green, and then another 1x2 plate, brown plate to hold that all together. And now we want to stick that to our underside. Such that the main length of this, basically the brown part, is nicely centered. And now we can put our 1x4 plate underneath. Alright, so the next order of business is going to be making the head. To do this, we start with a Travis brick, the wonderful Travis brick. We put a black stud on the top side. If you can get a Travis brick in, I think green's like the ideal color, but since this gets so covered, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just using a black one and it works just fine. Now we want light gray cheese slopes on both sides, angled like this. On the bottom, we want two 1x1 green plates. Then on one of the sides, the side that's going to be oriented downwards, we want a 1x2 brown. I used a tile. I don't remember if this is because I ran out of plates at the last minute or if tile really looked better. But anyway, it's a tile. I think tile does look better. And then on top, a 1x3 green plate. At the end of that, stick a 1x1 light gray tile. And stick that in front here to be the head. Now for the legs, we want to construct 4 of them. They all look the same, kind of. We start with a 1x1 light gray plate, put a brown stud into it, and then we stick the brown stud into the back of a brown headlight, and we want to angle that so the legs at like 45 degrees. See this? And for 2 of these legs, we actually want to stick them into the side of a headlight, so it's oriented upwards. This won't attach to anything, but it's just to kind of fill out the body. We'll make the front legs like that, and then the back legs won't stick into a headlight. But they'll be built the same way other than that. Alright, so now we stick our front legs here where there's space for us to put the headlight. And then our back legs will go 3 studs over. And there we go. So now we want to make the top side of Torterra, which is real nice because Torterra's got some really neat details. So what we want to do is we want to take 2 light gray 1x1 tiles. That's alright that a head falls off. We can stick that on later at any point. It's the least stable part of Torterra's body, unfortunately. And then we stick these tiles right here, next to where the head is. We stick light gray tiles, 1x3 tiles, around the edges to make kind of this makeshift circle. Then we place a 2x3 plate in green on the left side of this. And then in the top right corner we place a brown jumper plate. In the bottom right corner we place a brown 1x1 tile. Now on top of our green we place yet another green 2x3 plate. And on the left side of that we place 3 cheese slopes like this. Now finally we want to build the tree. So to do this we take a brown 1x2 slope. We take a brown 1x2 inverse slope. We stick a brown 1x1 tile on the inverse slope. We can maybe angle this just a little bit. And then we place some leaves. Let's kind of layer this nicely. And then we stick this so the back stud of it is on the jumper plate. So it's basically centered on Torterra's back. And there we go. Torterra is complete. Alright, Infernape's a lot easier to build. So we're going to first make 2 legs. We start by taking a blue 1x1 claw plate. I don't know, claw this way. That's just how I'm going to call them these days. And on top of that stick a white stud, and yellow stud. Make that twice. And because Infernape gets kind of hard to support, I took 4 translucent red stud or translucent clear studs, and I stacked them. What you want to do is you want to take a brown corner plate and then stick the translucent stack in the actual corner, and then the 2 legs we've made onto the sides of that. On top of that, place a white stud. Now for the torso, we'll take a Travis brick in white. On the front side, we'll place a 1x1 tile. On the back side, we'll place a claw tile, oriented so that we can hold something vertically, because what we want to stick in there is a whip from the Indiana Jones sets. And then what we want to do is put that on top of a white stud, and let's make 2 arms. The arms again are identical, so we want to take a white stud, put a yellow stud on top of that, stick a 1x2 brown plate on top of that, a yellow jumper plate on top of that so it overhangs a bit, and then take the other kind of blue 1x1 claw plate, so the claw's like this, and then stick these onto both sides. I don't think you get a full range of motion because at some point the claws from the hands are going to hit the claws from the feet, but it's pretty good. I don't think the corner plate interferes with the range of motion much. Anyway, for the head, you take a 1x2 brown plate, a 1x2 red plate, stick that on top. In the back, you place a 1x1 white tile. In the front, a 1x1 white claw tile. And then take a flame and just stick that into the claw on top of the head. And stick that on top so it overhangs a bit. And now Infernape is complete. Alright, and now for Empoleon. We're going to start with a core of 2 Travis bricks. Can you tell that this is my favorite piece yet? And we're going to connect them in an interesting way with a 1x4 plate. Now we're actually going to hold one upside down, and we want to connect them in such a way so that one of them goes in a center hole and one of them goes into an actual stud spot. You'll notice there's just the slightest gap in between them now. Alright, so what we want to do with this is on the bottom side of our 1x4, we want to place a 1x2 plate. And then on the top end, we want to place a corner plate, but just stick the corner on there. Alright, next you want to take two 2x2 white plates. On top of each of them stick a 2x2 black plate. And you want to stick the centers of the 2x2 white plates onto the bottom of these Travis bricks. And now what we want to do is we want to take two briefcase pieces and center them on the top Travis brick. This might be just a little tricky. You might have to adjust your corner plate here a bit. Now let's make the legs. So we can take these kind of yellowish orange beak, claw, whatever you want to think of them, plates, and then stick 1x1 claw tiles on top. Make this twice, angle it just a little bit. It's not quite straight. And then stick a T-bar in there to attach both of our little feet. It's a bit hard to do at the angle I'm using, but there we go. Okay. And now we can stick this into the bottom of these Travis bricks. We want to stick it in there pretty far so you can't see the T-bar much. You don't really need much of a range of motion on these feet anyway. So now let's make the back side of this thing. We'll want a 1x2 blue plate and a 1x4 black plate, then a 1x6 black plate. Now I use a 1x4 and a 1x2 because I used all my 1x6s for building R2-D2. But let's stick that on top. And then on the bottom end of that, let's stick a blue 1x3 plate. And then on the bottom of that, let's stick a blue 1x2 slope brick. And then we want to stick this in the back side so that this almost touches the ground. Now we stick a trident into these Travis bricks here. We should be able to press it down pretty far. And finally, let's make the arms/wings. These are very simple. What we do is we take a 1x1 claw plate and a 2x2 black plate, and then on top of them, hold it together with a 2x2 blue plate. There might be slightly better ways to build this. This is the only part of Empoleon that I'm not really happy with, but I do much prefer using just one claw plate over two. Maybe if I had some wing-shaped wedge pieces, I could come up with something a little more clever. Anyway, Empoleon is complete. So there you have it, the Sinnoh starters. And if you liked this video, please rate, comment, subscribe. Check out my other ones. Send this to your friends. And I will see you guys next time.